Jerry Corley here, standupcomedyclinic.com with another episode of Ask the Joke Doctor. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about judges in competitions and inept judges, to be more specific. One of the things, first of all, let me get this clear. I still think no matter what, every comedy competition is probably one of the best ways for a comedian to get great exposure. And it is one of the fastest ways to notoriety is to win some competitions, get some of that legitimacy, get some of those notches on your belt, especially in the good competitions, the well-known competitions. Once people see that, they understand at least you've been out there and, you've been exposed to audiences and got some accolades. And many of these competitions, you have talent coordinators, managers, agents that show up, that watch these things, that are looking for talent. And it's a great way to get work. So that being said, I'm going to move on just to a couple of things. One of my students was recently submitted a video, and she got back some notes. Now, some of the notes are legit, and this goes for everybody. When you get these notes, don't take them as a critique. Take them as here's one thing to do. One of the best pieces of advice I got ever with regards to getting notes from a teacher or getting notes from a club owner is that always when you get a note, instead of taking it as a critique, ask 2 follow-up questions. Basically, ask 2 questions for them to clarify or help to make sense of it, or if you have something else to share, you can do that. One of the reasons to do that is once you ask questions, it goes from a critique to a collaboration. Big difference, right? So now you're collaborating together to solve what is either a question in their mind or a problem that they have, what they saw on the stage. All right. Now, that being said, let me just say this. One of the notes, and if I can get the note up on the screen, I'll show it. This is the feedback that was received from this comedian. One of the notes basically said, don't ask questions to the audience. Don't ask the audience questions, even if they are rhetorical. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, right? Some judges, they're club owners, they're managers or whatever, they have a problem with crowd work. They have a problem with crowd work from their perspective or their point of view. And that point of view is, as a manager, as an owner, if you open it up to questions, then there's a possibility of it getting out of control. Now, yeah, sure. Any show, anywhere, it's a live performance. There's always a possibility of somebody being rowdy in the audience. Well, you know what? That's your fucking job, managers and club owners, to get the riffraff, get the trash out of the club, right? I have no problem with somebody talking to me from an audience point of view. 98, 99% of the time when an audience asks a question, says something, the only reason they're doing it is to participate, to engage, to feel accepted, to be a part of the show. The 2% or the 1% that feel like they need to heckle to ruin something, those are very few and far between. In my 30 some odd years doing stand-up, very few of those people in the crowd were actually looking for a fight or looking to start something or looking to disrupt a show. In most situations, they're just wanting to participate and engage with the show. They think of something to add on to the joke. They think of something silly or funny that might go along with the joke. They want to answer a question. That's fine. That's why it's there. To remove questions is removing 20 to 30% of a show. It's engagement. I mean, think about this. Based on this criteria, Bill Burr, who basically 40% of his act is questions, if he entered this competition, he'd be DQ'd in the first round. Asking questions to the audience do several things. One, they create hooks. If you know anything about storytelling, you have to have a hook. A hook is when you bring the audience in, you create a little tension so you can provide an answer. It's like, you know how many kids I have? 5. That's how many kids I have. It raises the tension in the inflection, and it allows the audience to feel like there's tension and release. So storytelling, you need tension, you need release and engagement, right? So asking a question allows the audience also to fill in a blank. If comedy, laughter comes where there's surprise, then asking a question allows the audience to fill in that blank with something that's going to be, and if it's well written, it's going to be other than what you have as an answer, right? So, for example, this particular person is, she has an accent. She's from India. She's Indian. And the funny thing, the irony of her situation is that she has an accent, and she says, I don't understand a lot of the phrases in the English phrases, like, for example, some of the idioms or aphorisms. The cat is out of the bag, that sort of thing. Bringing home the bacon. You're full of baloney. These types of colloquialisms we use in the United States. Now, and she says, I don't understand this. She goes, and I'm not dumb. I have a master's degree. Guess what my master's degree is in? English. Now, she does this joke, and the critiques from 2 judges were like, oh, don't ask questions. Why not? That creates tension. It's how you write. If you remove questions, think about this. You remove questions, you basically removed like 40% of Seinfeld's act. What is it with bugs? Right? They're always asking questions. If you look at George Carlin, he asks a lot of questions. It's how you bring the audience in to your show. Denying questions or saying don't ask questions says to me, you don't know what you're talking about. See how I edited myself there? Asking questions gets the audience to focus, creates a hook in storytelling, and gives the audience a chance to engage. 90% of the time, 95% of the time, they're not going to answer the question. There's a joke I do that relies specifically on a question. I do a joke, talk about my daughter. And I said, my daughter she was going to this big mega church at one point. And to get me into this whole segment about religion and mega churches, I was like, my daughter's one of those kids, one of those people that is really involved, really into science fiction. You know these people, they just totally love science fiction. I mean, it's all about science fiction. They talk about science fiction with their friends. They tell their friends they've got to get into science fiction. They're like, what do they call these people? These science fiction freaks. They're like really just like fanatics about science fiction. There's a name for these people. What are they? Does anybody know? What's the name for these people, these science fiction people? What's that? What do they call Christians? That's right. That's what they call these people. Now that particular bit, just to get it into it, is designed to get the audience thinking, get their brains engaged, have them fill in a blank, maybe say something, because what they're going to say is going to be opposite of what I'm going to say. And I know that because the joke is well written for that particular engagement. Now, to say don't ask any questions is utterly ridiculous because the joke is designed that way. So to comedians that do have questions in their act, think about it. If comedy is a conversation and questions make up 30% of a conversation, 20% of a conversation, even if it's 10%, a conversation starts with a question. Hey, what's your name? Where are you from? Do you know the deceased? Let's take a look at some comedians that ask questions.
Did you see Rick Moranis got sucker punched on the Upper West Side?
You think that people are coming to murder your family? How many fucking enemies do you have?
What did she think I was going to do in the event of a fire? No one's brought a landline, have they?
I was in Switzerland. You heard of this place? Did you ever see that little Swiss Army knife? Do you know sometimes audiences don't laugh. Did you know that?
I know that. Who designed pajamas? Why do they always make them look like a tiny suit? Anybody using the breast pocket on your pajamas? What, do you put a pen in there, you roll over in the middle of the night, you kill yourself. It's terrible.
Maybe some of these judges are out of touch themselves. They need to watch more comedy, get more engaged with what's really happening in the comedy scene. And I intentionally showed some comedians who are doing tight television sets in that little montage to show that's sort of like the best sort of a representation I can give you for a showcase type of set is a short 4.5 minute, 7 minute television set that you're doing, and it has to be a very specific time frame. But these questions keep the audience engaged. So those of you out there, you judges out there who keep saying paint some broad brush concept that you can't ask questions, I think you should reevaluate this and check it out. Is the audience laughing? Is the audience engaged? Then get out of your heads and out of this this pet peeve that you seem to have about questions, and get into what's happening in reality in real time in comedy. So that's what I've got to say. And if you're a comedian, you have two choices here: either ignore those comments and continue to do what you do, which is what I would do because I'm a stubborn Irish New Yorker, or if you know this particular judge or judges don't like questions, revise your act for this particular event so that you can meet the criteria that they've requested of you. That's all I got to say. Do questions if you want. I like questions. Questions make it a conversation. They engage the audience, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to change for any judge or any club owner. That's just who I am, and I'll let the audience decide whether or not the joke is funny, whether or not the premise works. I'm not some judge that has some weird pet peeve or bug up their butt about questions. I hope this brought some value to your day and you got something out of this video. If you did, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll be putting up more videos. And don't forget to ring that bell, because the bell will send you notifications, let you know when a new video has been posted up here on YouTube. And remember, all of these free videos are brought to you with the support of your purchases of Breaking Comedy's DNA, the quintessential book on the science of writing comedy, the explanation that helps give you power. Rather than writing from hope, you start to write with confidence, knowing what triggers an audience's laugh, and then how to write a joke so that you could try to you can hit those points at all given time and any given time. So check out Breaking Comedy's DNA. It is one of the few books available on comedy, or one of the only books available on comedy that's constantly updated. And one purchase of the book gets you all updates for forever, as long as I'm around. So there you go. Don't forget to support and support both this channel and every comedian you bump into. All right. So I hope once again, hope this brought value to your day, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.